I have decided to momentarily interrupt our regularly scheduled sermon series to take a detour and discuss the white elephant in the room, or perhaps the green elephant, as it were. We're in the month of March, and while my mind goes to images of green grass, spring showers, mild weather, and the seasonal allergies that like to rear their ugly head and kick my butt at the same time every year, many people's minds automatically go to St. Patrick's Day and many of the associated traditions that surround it. Wearing green, having shamrocks covering everything, oversized pins displaying messages like "Kiss me, I'm Irish," or "I speak fluent Blarney," parades, and drinking green beer. As someone who has both Irish and Northern Irish ancestry on both sides of his family, albeit contained in a family that is both British and Protestant, I have never quite known what to do with St. Patrick's Day and all of its many celebrations. Is this an actual holiday to acknowledge and celebrate Irish culture and heritage? Is this just a commercialization and perpetuation of Irish stereotypes that it is actual Irish culture? Is any of this actually done in Ireland? What does any of this have to do with the actual person the holiday is named for? Was there even an actual St. Patrick? As you are probably already aware, when my sermons arrive at the point that they become a series of 1,000 questions, you can expect that I have answered those questions by throwing myself into a deep dive of meticulous historical research, the synthesis of which has resulted in the sermon that is now. So here is a discussion I am calling St. Patrick, the man, the myth, the legend, or everything that you ever wanted to know about St. Patrick's Day, including stuff that you probably didn't, but were afraid to ask. That last one did not fit on the bulletin, so I went with the former. So, who was St. Patrick and why is he celebrated? St. Patrick is widely considered to be an Irish Catholic saint who is responsible for bringing Christianity to Ireland and converting Irish pagans, which he allegedly did by using a shamrock as a traditional symbol to represent the Trinity, for driving the snakes out of Ireland, and for being the patron saint of Ireland. However, this presents a couple of problems. Firstly, there is no confirmed birth or death dates for St. Patrick. He is generally assumed to have lived sometime during the 5th century. Most scholars contend that the person whom Patrick's life was based on is actually Magonus Stockton, known as Maewyn, who was born in 370 CE in either Wales or Scotland, which were under Roman control at the time. His father, Calpurnius, was a local senator and tax collector and also a deacon in the church. His grandfather, Potitus, was a priest. At the age of 16, he was captured and sold as a slave to an Irish landowner, where he was forced to work as a goat herder. It was allegedly during this time that he began to have dreams and hear voices, including one that told him that, quote, he would soon go home and that his ship was ready. The legend goes that he fled his master and traveled 200 miles to a port city where he found a ship and persuaded the captain to take him aboard. After the ship landed in Britain, after 3 days, Maewyn and the others from the ship wandered for 28 days in the wilderness until they returned home. While this account comes from the Confessio, an autobiographical record of Patrick's life, it is unable to be verified by other historical sources and is considered to be highly embellished and probably fictitious. What is known is that Maewyn, who had not been a believer before, began studying Christianity in depth and went to Auxerre Abbey in France to be ordained to the priesthood. He then eventually returned to Ireland in 432 CE, where he began using the name Patrick, from the Latin pater civilis, meaning father of the people. Although he did help to spread Catholicism through Northern and Western Ireland, he was not the first person to bring Christianity to Ireland. That was most likely Palladius, who had been sent there by Pope Celestine I the year before. Ireland was also a merchant society, so it is also likely that they came into contact with Christianity from others in places like Cornwall, where conversion had already taken place. Some modern historians even think that Palladius and Patrick were the same person. As far as the use of the shamrock as a symbol of the Trinity, there is no mention of shamrocks anywhere in the writings attributed to St. Patrick. The first mention of shamrocks being associated with St. Patrick was not made until as late as 1571, and its connection to the Trinity was not made until 1726. The number 3 was already a significant number in pagan Ireland, and there are many triple deities that existed in 3 persons or forms that were already present in the Irish pantheon. If anything, the shamrock would have been seen as a symbol of the regenerative power of nature, and there is more evidence that its existing belief in Celtic paganism would have been incorporated into later arriving Irish Christianity rather than the other way around. As far as driving the snakes from Ireland, there was almost universal agreement from historians and biologists that there were never any snakes in post-glacial Ireland to begin with, meaning that there would have been nothing to banish. The myth of driving the snakes out of Ireland is almost certainly a reference to Moses and Aaron in Exodus chapter 7, verses 8 through 13, and was likely added in an 11th century hagiography of St. Patrick's life, but many of these have also been dismissed as untrue by historians. The snakes were likely to refer to the pagan Irish that Patrick was looking to convert. But even though Ireland is considered to have been made fully Christian in the 14th century, Celtic paganism never actually went away and still exists in some Reconstructionist forms to this day in contemporary Ireland. However, the image of driving the snakes out of Ireland as a reference to the suppression of Celtic paganism continues in popular culture to this day, so much so that many Celtic Reconstructionist pagans choose to wear badges with image of snakes on them as opposed to the more popular shamrock image. Patrick was also never officially canonized as a saint by the Catholic Church, since he lived long before the process of canonization was instituted. He is considered one of the patron saints of Ireland, along with Bridget of Kildare and Columba. His feast day of March 17th was designated in the 16th century as a result of the influence of Irish Franciscan historian and scholar Luke Wadding. What is true is that the modern celebration of St. Patrick's Day has been influenced by celebrations that developed among communities of the Irish diaspora, especially in North America. Indeed, St. Patrick's Day has often been a bigger celebration among the Irish diaspora than in Ireland itself. While it is considered a holy day of obligation for Irish Catholics, and attendance at Mass is required, it was most likely seen in Ireland as the middle day of spring, and a time to begin potatoes. The first ever St. Patrick's Day parade was held in Boston in 1737. The first one in New York was in 1762. For Irish immigrants in North America, many of whom were escaping famines directly caused by British persecutions that they had experienced at home, St. Patrick's Day became a day that was removed from its religious connotations and became a secular celebration of Irish culture and overall pride and visibility in being Irish in a time when it was not seen as being highly regarded to do so. Traditions such as wearing green, the original color of St. Patrick and St. Patrick's Day was robin's egg blue, were born out of the 1798 Irish Rebellion, when Irish supporters wore green in protest of the British, who wore red. The wearing of shamrocks was a response to the ban on the shamrock emblem by Queen Victoria during the late 19th century. In the mid-1990s, the Republic of Ireland, which did not officially celebrate St. Patrick's Day until 1903, began a campaign to showcase St. Patrick's Day as a celebration of Ireland and its culture, seeking, quote, to project internationally an accurate image of Ireland as a creative, professional, and sophisticated country with a wide appeal. With the week leading up to St. Patrick's Day designated as Stockton na Gaeilge, or Irish Language Week, as a nod to celebrating the Gaelic language spoken in Ireland and Irish history and culture. But it is important to remember, especially for us as Unitarian Universalists who have always been sensitive to the lived experiences of marginalized people, that St. Patrick's Day can often be a complicated holiday for many. Even though, as you used, one of the sources of our living tradition is spiritual teachings of earth-centered traditions, which celebrate the sacred circle of life and instruct us to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature, St. Patrick's Day is a date that has historically lifted up a figure that has been seen as central in the Christian colonization of Ireland and the suppression of pagan Irish traditions and customs. And I, especially as a UU minister, hold that tension at this time of year. I am also aware that as St. Patrick's Day has become commercialized in the late 20th century, especially by beer companies like Budweiser, there has been a move towards St. Patrick's Day as a celebration of drunken revelry and a phenomenon called plastic paddiness, or well-intentioned non-Irish folks who end up appropriating and misrepresenting Irish culture, claiming Irish identity, and enacting Irish stereotypes, which can be a source of pain to those Irish Americans for whom St. Patrick's Day is an actual celebration of their culture, which has often been marginalized in itself. I am also aware, as a member of the LGBTQIA2S+ community and a student of our history, that queer folks like myself were often long banned from participating in St. Patrick's Day marches. The New York City and Boston parades did not allow LGBTQIA2S+ groups to participate until 2014 and 2015, respectively, and that many queer Irish Americans have spent too long being forced to choose to celebrate their cultural identity at the cost of suppressing queerness. Please know that I am not trying to rain on anyone's parade, nor am I telling people that they should not observe or celebrate St. Patrick's Day. But I am a firm believer in mindfulness helping to intelligently inform the things we do. More than anything, I would say that as we look ahead to celebrating St. Patrick's Day, that we remember that it is a holiday that has a long history that incorporates as much legend and folklore as it does the actual history of the Irish and Irish American people. It is a holiday that at its core is a celebration of a culture that draws from many different sources and is comprised of many stories. It is a celebration where not everyone has historically been welcome at that table, but that does not mean that it is how it should continue, and that we can do our part to helping it be more respectful and inclusive. In closing, and in the great tradition of the myriad of Irish blessings that are invoked around this time of year, I leave you with an inclusive Irish blessing to set the tone for our upcoming festivities together and as we leave from our time together. May your neighbors respect you, troubles neglect you, the angels protect you, and heaven accept you. May it ever continue to be so. Blessed be. Amen. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. Namaste. Thank you all so much.